All right, peace. So before I finish this clip, this highlight clip of Dennis Smith Jr. as it was just recently announced a couple of days ago, that he is returning to the Dallas Mavericks, which is kind of what I predicted. And I was at one of the games earlier this season, one of the Mavs games at the end of the season versus it was either the Pistons or the Hawks. I went to both games. I think it was a game versus the Pistons. It was shown that he was in a tunnel. So that kind of signified to me that, okay, they were potentially planning on a return, a Dennis Smith Jr. return. And they probably invited him to a game just so he can get a feel for the culture, for the team, just get a feel to be around that environment again. All right. So I didn't know for sure if he was going to be back. I just knew that there was a huge potentiality for it, and I knew he was going to be back in the league for sure. There's certain players who have too much star potential, star status to not be back in the league. So that said, most people don't know I've been following Dennis Smith Jr. since since his first year in the league, since he was drafted. Honestly, some certain players you gravitate towards. He was a player, typically a player that I like, high flyer, highly athletic. Had a certain dog mentality in him, just a certain it factor, vivacious energy. That's infectious. And yeah, man, I just been following him since then. I seen the ups and the downs. I seen how he was dead dirty, so to speak, in Dallas. That's what happens though. That's a part of life. That's a part of business. That's a part of the NBA as a business. Either you sink or swim, right? It's how you fall from grace and how you respond to that fall from grace. That's gonna dictate your ultimate destination, your ultimate fate. All right. So all that to say, I've been following him, so I've seen how obviously he was never a good shooter. Free throw line, mid range, definitely 3-point. And to this day, he's still not a good shooter. Now, what most people have to understand, this is to the casual fan. You you get most players in the NBA, let me say, especially wings, the ones, twos, and wings, point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards. Most of them, you line them up, you get them in the gym, you have them shoot around the world, 100 3-point shots. They're making at least 60 to 70% of those and swishing most of the time. It's a complete different ball game, literally, pun intended, when you're in a ball game, right? It's the pressure of the moment, so to speak. It's the tempo. It's the flow of the game. It's everything's sped up. So it's a huge difference. And obviously, everyone who's played sports and basketball in particular knows that, but the casual fan doesn't understand that. So when I say he can't shoot, and players like him who can't shoot, it's just having to being able to shoot in the flow of the game and be consistent in that, right? But anyways, so yeah, you have that, his lack of shooting ability, but what you do have, he definitely has vision. I don't know, there's a lot of naysayers in terms of him being a decent, solid point guard, right? He's a solid point guard. You can actually see the floor. He has good vision. He knows how to control the tempo. He's a good passer. So you have a lot of people who just don't really know what they're talking about. They don't really know what they're watching. And I can objectively analyze the game. You know what I mean? Being someone who grew up playing basketball, I can objectively analyze the game, and he's definitely a solid point guard. He's an off guard, right? His natural instinct is to attack, and it's to attack. But he can definitely oversee a floor and control the game, the pace of the game, for sure. And he's gotten better at it over time. Obviously, the older you get, and the more athleticism, which he hasn't gotten to that point yet, where he's lost his athleticism. That stuff gets better with time. So just imagine him when he actually loses his athleticism, right? You can see that his game is going to evolve over time. If he can become not to get off point too much, but if he can develop a decent shot, which I think he will, he'll He'll be solid enough to where he can stay in games. Who knows? He may have a. I'm not saying he'll become an all-star and all that, but he can be more than just a solid point guard who comes off the bench and provides energy for his team, right? Who knows? When I say you're talking about Baron Davis type player, you're talking about a I don't want to say Darren Williams, but Baron Davis type players in his later years. Let's say a Steve Francis type of player in his later years, someone like that who you can talk about a big guard, an off guard kind of, but he can't control the flow of the game. That type of guard, when he loses his athleticism, who knows? But anyways, what he has developed over the years, his most notably, this is literally what this highlight is about. He's become a much better defender. You're talking on ball, like literally one of the top. You can make the case his past 2 years in the league that he played in the league. He didn't play last year. He wasn't picked up, but his last 2 years that he played in the league for the Hornets, the 2023 season, and then 2024 through 2025. I'm sorry, what was that? Because we're going into 25, 26 now. No, 2022 through 2023 season, he played for the Hornets, and the 2023 to 2024 season, he played for the Brooklyn Nets. And that's what this highlight is about, is his last 2 years in the league. And it's primarily defensive highlights, which is crazy. Now, I knew once he got the boot from New York, from the Knicks, and after he got traded from the Mavs, that blockbuster deal for Kristaps Porzingis, that he would have to work on other parts of his game. I didn't see his defense getting to this level just because I thought his trajectory in the league, I thought his path in the league, his journey in the league would be, I first seen it being completely different from what it became. Anyways, not to digress, I say that to say his defense, most notably, has improved. You can make the case, like I was saying, his 2 years that he played, his last 2 years that he played in the league, talking about a top 5, top 10 on-ball defender. And the statistics showed it. Statistics definitely showed it. All the metrics point to him being a top defender in the league. Could have made the case that if it weren't for his team being only a 30-win team, that he would have made one of the all-defensive teams. If they were actually a solid playoff team, he definitely would have made one of the all-defensive teams for sure. But anyways, what else? I would say his energy, right? He's gonna bring a vivacious energy. Like I said earlier, he's a dog. That's gonna be needed. You have Cooper Flag coming in. You're gonna need an energy spark while Kyrie's out, right? He's gonna bring energy back to the Dallas Mavericks. So you have someone who was loved, I say loved by the Mavericks, but who was highly embraced by the Mavericks prior to his departure. So that's naturally going to bring an energy back, right? That's another thing. He knows how to play with other stars. He knows how to feed players like a Cooper Flag, right? Wing players or big men who know how to run the floor with a guard and get you a quick lob. He's a Chris Paul in that category. And that's what I meant earlier by saying a Baron Davis, Steve Francis. More so Chris Paul, Baron Davis, less Steve Francis. Steve Francis, he had the potential of being a Steve Francis if the trajectory of his career had went differently. But in terms of, again, seeing the floor, knowing how to pass, knowing how to throw lobs, knowing how to run the floor with big man, properly spacing the floor, his defensive prowess, the energy that he brings, leadership. I think all those aspects of his game, which have improved, obviously, he's definitely developed wisdom in his years. Being as much of a star that he was and had the potential to be, and falling from the limelight, that does something to your psyche, to where it's like if you bounce back from that, you only come back stronger. And you came back because you something in your mentality, in your psyche, you hit a switch, right? And so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring. But anyways, let me let me play this clip, all right? So you're gonna see in this part of the clip, everything he's doing is on the ball. That's what they're showcasing. Is on the ball defensive prowess. All right. Just can oversee the floor. Cool. Yup. See, on the ball, finishing it, of course, with his fast break dunk. Again, in their grill. But defending Jason Tatum, like he was getting cookies from players like Jason Tatum, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, crazy, the claw. Right, you got a 6'2", 6'3" guard and 6'6" to 6'8" wing players' faces right in their grill, straight up. So it's a great thing to see. Now again, yep. So as you see, finishing strong, of course. Now this is impressive right here. With the cookies, as expected. Knocked down the tray. Okay, see. So we talking again. If we can just get a consistent jump shot, we're looking at something right here. Nice. If you were to watch this full clip, this full highlight, the first part is the defense, and then showing his offense. It'll show his offense eventually, but most of his defensive highlights is on the ball. Like I was saying, like he'll gamble from time to time, but most of it's on the ball. Well, obviously finishing strong as always. Anyways, you get the point. You have a solid point guard, whether he's a backup, the third off the bench. He comes in case of an injury. Obviously, Kyrie's gonna be out at least till January, February. You got someone who can lead the floor. His leadership mentality, his dog mentality, can actually provide an energy spark. He'll play alongside he'll play very well alongside a player like Cooper Flag. So I didn't see enough. I don't follow sports as much as I used to, particularly basketball, but I've seen enough of Cooper Flag where I think he's gonna be really solid. I told people from the jump, I don't have to watch too much to know what's going on. When that Luka Doncic thing first went down, I told people, I was like, yeah, that was clearly some behind the scenes. There was behind the scenes deal for sure. But they got to steal Cooper Flag. There's no way, can't convince me otherwise. But anyways, nice pickup in Dennis Smith Jr. To be continued. Stay tuned, all right? Anyways, peace.